Welcome to the Vector Garden YouTube channel. In this video we're going to create this pattern. So I'm going to change to a new file, and when discussing patterns and the creation of patterns, then I'm seeing a lot of misunderstandings of that pattern generator functionality in Illustrator. Now, before version CS6, what you needed to do is create the repeat for your pattern so that it just can be used. And then when you're done with that rectangular repeat, you dragged it into the swatches panel, and then you could just use the pattern. But with that pattern editing mode, you can just create a base object. And in this pattern, we have that base object, we have that isometric cube thing, and this is scattered around regularly in this pattern, but we do not create an exact rectangular repeat in order to be able to use that pattern editing mode. So let's do that. We're going to start with that object, and that object I'm going to start with a square with the rectangle tool, and now we need to scale that. So I'm first going to rotate it by 45 degrees, and then we need to scale it vertically. And I have the scaling percentage set up already here, and what we can't do currently is just drag it. That is another misunderstanding. So this is a live shape. As you can see up here, it's a rectangle, and in order to be able to scale it, what you would need to do is first go to Object, Shape, and expand the shape. And then you still have this bounding box rotated, and then you would have to go to Object, Transform, and reset the bounding box. Both of these steps are not needed, so I'm just going to undo that. What you can just do is double click the scale tool, and I'm using that one because I have already entered that value in here. So we're just going to use it. Now, this needs to be isometric if you want to be precise. It doesn't actually need to be for the pattern, but for the sake of the isometric construction, what you can do is check that out. I'm just going to draw a line for that, and you see it's 30 degrees. So that's okay. Let's delete that. So the next thing we need to do is take this and then go to Object, Path, and Offset. And now we need to go to the miter and set that to the inside, like so. And then we need to build those sides, and for that I'm just going to use the direct selection tool, select this point, and I'm just going to copy it. And when I'm doing that, Illustrator copies both the neighboring path segments, and then just go to Edit, Paste and Place. So now we can just drag that down like this, for instance, and then just drag some more lines like here. I'm going to outline view, so view, outline, I'm using that shortcut for that. And then just drag some more lines, and we need another one in here, just like this. And now we can go back to the preview, select all of this, and then take the shape builder tool and make some shapes. So what we're going to do is double click it and uncheck this like this, but it has already done that. So let's just do it like this. Click on this and click on these. So now we have the shapes, and we can now fill them. So I'm just going to apply those gradients that are there, and then just take that one and this one. I'm going to assume that the light comes from the left side, so we've got lighter shapes there and darker ones there, like this. So this is the base shape. And what we can now do is, I'm going to group it because it's easier to handle, and then we could use it. Now to build this pattern, what we could also do is use the repeat function. So I'm going to make a copy of that. And then let's just select it and go to Object, Repeat, Grid. And then we can just make that narrower and make it like this. And we can drag them further apart, and that's that. Now this is a special object, and it's not easy to reuse it in other files because it's an object. You would need to copy it over there. And also when you want to have it inside some shape, then you would need to create a clipping mask. So I'm just moving this to the side, and let's take a look how to do this with the pattern editing mode. So let's just go to Object, Pattern, Make. Just like this. And it will be in the swatches panel later on, but we don't need it currently. So what can we do now? Just like this. And we can also go in here and make that like this. And then you can take this, and this is a tool. And then we can just make it like so. And move it down and further down. And now this is stacked in the wrong way. So stack it the other way round. And what we are seeing here is that the group does not work. So I'm taking the selection tool again, selecting all these parts, and then let's group them again like this. And now this suddenly works, and we can go on using that pattern tool and adjust the density of these, so we can also make them more dense. And the nice thing about it is when you drag it around and you see inside of here, the smart guides are turned on. So now this snaps, so we can make very precise patterns where they are snapped to the side, or we can just drag them around. And you know, when you want to change the stacking, you can just use these buttons. And Illustrator then builds the pattern for us. So we do not need to build a repeat. Illustrator does that automatically. It's already shown in here. And then you just click on Done, and then you're done. And we can now draw some shape and then go in here and apply that pattern, just like so.